What does it mean to live? What is the end goal of every single living person here today? Every day as humans, people are born into this world with a finite amount of time. As we continue to grow older year after year, it's up to your own volition on what you do with the limited amount of time you have left on this earth. There are very few shows that you can tell are going to be great just by their first episode alone, but this season's To Your Eternity is one of those exceptions. After the stacked winter 2021 anime season, I would have easily guessed that this season would have been overshadowed by all the great shows that came before it. But to my surprise, there have been many gems within this season, such as Vivi, 86, and of course the show I'm going to be talking about today. To Your Eternity's pilot episode might very well be one of the best first episodes in anime that I can remember in recent years. Not only does it tell a compelling and self-contained narrative in just 20 minutes, but manages to make us care about a character that we don't even know the name of. It also then makes sense that the manga this was adapted from was also by the same person who created A Silent Voice, Yoshitoki Oima, and in that sense, we can expect to feel an emotional catharsis from the story that is unfolding before our very eyes. Today I want to highlight the first two arcs of the series by showcasing the deeper thematics and messages of To Your Eternity and what makes this show so special. This will contain spoilers for up to episode 5, so I highly recommend you watch at least up until there. But if you don't care, then let's begin. The fundamental premise of the series is that an omnipotent god creates an immortal orb that can transform and adapt into anything that it comes into contact with. At first it's just a rock, then moss, but one day a dying wolf comes into contact with it, and from that point onwards it imitates the wolf, gaining a form of consciousness as it wanders aimlessly. From the very beginning, we're essentially put into the perspective of the wolf. We don't know what this world is like or any of the people who inhabit it. However, as it continues its journey, the orb will slowly learn through the situations around it what it means to be human, to live. As it continues to walk in the desolate and isolated snowy lands, it finds a village with a single inhabitant, the Nameless boy. Throughout the episode, we find out that the people in his village had set out on a journey to find a new home 5 years ago. The people who remained in the village were just him and the elderly, who had now passed away. From our perspective, the boy living alone in isolation would be extremely terrifying and drive anyone to the point of insanity due to the immense loneliness felt. However, that isn't the case for the boy. He's extremely optimistic about his surroundings and situations, believing that one day he too would leave the village and seek out the paradise that everyone had left for. When the makeshift bells ring in his village, his first gut reaction is that the people have returned from their adventure, but as he opens the door, he finds no one in the room. It was only the wind. This subtle action clues us into his inner mental state that he rarely shows. Deep down in the back of his mind, he feels the immense loneliness and isolation placed on himself and will do anything just to see another person's face. Even though he feels lonely, the boy still keeps an outwardly positive mentality that shows to us his genuine determination and perseverance to one day meet with the people he cares about. During the night, the boy draws the faces of all the people who once lived in the village, and while this does further emphasize his loneliness and yearning to meet others, the line that he says next gives an even deeper meaning behind his drawings, and I would say is the core message of the first episode. I just wanted to make it clear that there were people here, and make sure I don't forget. With this context, it's clear what the episode is trying to say, that even when people die or pass away in reality, they're not fully dead because those same people live on in the memories of others. To have lived a life means to have impacted the world or the people around you in some capacity. It can be big or small, but the end product is still the same. You may not exist in the future, but you will continue to live through the memories of those around you, and the way this episode ends is indicative of that. The boy finally builds up the courage to leave the village and set out on an adventure to find paradise, and along the way he finds marked stones on his path telling him that people were once here. They existed in this place not too long ago, and all he has to do now is continue his search for them. This fills the young boy with even more hope and optimism, but as we live in an unfair world, not every journey has a happy ending. During his path, the boy falls into the river and injures himself, but that's still not enough to make him quit. He's gone too far to give up now. However, the next time he finds a marked stone, instead of bringing hope and joy, he's hit with an overwhelming sense of despair and hopelessness. The boy comes to terms with the fact that the people he is searching for are no longer alive. He returns to the village, but over time succumbs to his injuries and passes away. Though this episode may be tragic, the boy at the end of his life was able to find eternal peace as he transitions into the afterlife, searching for that paradise and reuniting with the people in his village. The end of the episode shows the wolf transforming into the boy as it sets out on a new adventure, directly paralleling the ambitions the boy had at the start. What this pilot episode showed us was a compelling and cathartic story of what it means to live and the legacy you leave behind once you're gone. To have existed in the world means to have lived your life with others, because without other people to share your life with, can you say that you really, truly existed? To your eternity seems to suggest that living a life without others isn't a life worth living. You have no proof that you ever existed, but it's through others how you can live and continue to once you're gone. It's a great message to abide by, and one that will be constantly present as the series continues forward. The wolf was both literally and figuratively shaped by the nameless boy and will continue to be molded with the next people it comes into contact with. March as a character is such a wonderful bundle of joy that you can't help but want the best for her. She always has such a positive outlook in life no matter her circumstances, and has dreams and aspirations of becoming an adult, or more specifically, a mum. And this makes it all the more tragic and cruel when she's chosen to become a ritual sacrifice for the Nyaa village. What makes it even more saddening is that when she's chosen, none of the people in the village, including her parents, try to resist or fight back against the unjust decision. While ritual sacrifices in the real world were thought to bring honor and good karma from the gods, it's clear that in this instance, it's used as a tool for oppression and subservience. The people in the village are afraid to go against tradition because they will be punished for disobeying. The only person who has the will and guts to save March from a cruel fate is Perona, a person who is like an older sister for March. After a rescue attempt, March manages to escape her captives and stumbles upon the boy, who then she starts to create a parent and childlike bond together, something that she had always yearned for. Through kindness and compassion, March feeds him, teaches the boy how to eat with manners, and even gives him a name, Fushi. And just as she's about to get offered to Oniguma, Fushi is the one who comes to her aid. I'll be honest, at this point in the story, I really didn't know what to expect, as I considered March to be a major character in the series that would continue to shape who Fushi was. As you can tell, I was very wrong. The next episode in the arc introduced more of the world around our characters, and I had this expectation in the back of my mind that we would get to see how these characters learn and adapt to their new surroundings while furthering each of their relationships. And as a person who didn't know anything about the manga it was adapted from, what happens in the coming episodes completely shattered any preconceived notion that I had. Something that's brought up throughout the series is finding one's life purpose. During the carriage ride to Yanome, Perona says that Fushi's immortality is unfortunate and that she feels sorry for him because without death, he wouldn't be able to find meaning in his life. The time that every person chooses to spend their living moments in matters so much because everyone's time is limited. For normal humans, what you choose to dedicate your life to is proof that you existed. You had an impact on the people and the world around you. It's shown through the nameless boy in the first episode, and now it's shown through March. During their escape from the prison, Perona asks March what she wants to do when she becomes a grown-up, to which March simply replies, "I want to do everything a grown-up can. I just want to learn everything I don't know." It's through her earnest words can we begin to understand why March wants to grow up so quickly. She wants to experience the world around her and discover things that she can't do right now. In her own eyes, March thinks that she is unable to do anything of use simply because she's still a child. However, that's where she's wrong. Throughout this arc, March has fought against a cruel fate, raised the boy with her compassion and kindness, and now is about to save the life of a person who was family. It's through her actions that March was able to do what no other person from her village had done yet: find purpose in her life. March saves Perona from getting shot, but in return exchanges her own life. It's a really tragic moment to witness because March didn't get the chance to fully experience her dreams of becoming an adult. It was cruelly taken away from her, but yet the impact she's had on not only Fushi's growth but Perona's as well cannot be understated. Fushi had learned what it's like to have a mother, and Perona was given a family when she didn't have one. March will continue to live on in their memories, and in some senses, will get to experience many things that she couldn't do in her own life through Fushi's journey. Watching To Your Eternity has been an absolute roller coaster of emotions through each arc, and depending on how it finishes, it may very well be in contention for Anime of the Year. I'm sure that in the coming arcs, we'll experience even more emotional and life-changing events, but as of right now, all I'll say is this: March was the best mom that Fushi could have ever had. As you guys know, I don't do sponsorships for products or services I don't believe in, but today I'd like to thank AtlasVPN for sponsoring this video. For only $1.39 a month, AtlasVPN is the cheapest and most efficient VPN currently on the market with over 5 million members. It allows you to protect your online privacy through its many servers, but I think more usefully, it allows you to bypass any geo restrictions for movies and TV series on the most popular streaming sites such as Netflix, Amazon Prime, and Disney+. For example, since I live in Australia, if I wanted to rewatch one of my favorite shows like Fate Zero, it would normally be blocked to where I am, but if I were to change server and pick the US, I can now stream it. On the flip side, if you live in the US, which is where most of my audience members are, you aren't able to watch Christopher Nolan's action epic, Tenet, on Netflix. However, if you now change the server to Australia, you are now able to view it. VPNs are extremely useful in this regard, especially if you like to stream shows and movies. So if you want a hassle-free streaming experience, you can upgrade with AtlasVPN $1.39 a month membership by using the link in the description. If you like what I make and want to support me, the best way to do so is to like the video and comment down below. Engagement tells YouTube that this is a good video and will in turn promote it into the algorithm. I read all the comments I get and try my best to reply to those who put the effort in. Since I only upload a video once a month, it's really easy to miss an upload from me, so be sure to turn on notifications so you don't miss out. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you all next time.